Hello everybody and welcome to Genealogy of the Cards, Episode 2, Part 2 of the Celtic Guardian family. Last time on Part 1, we looked at the base forms of the Celtic Guardians artwork, such as the original artwork, the one from the 10th Anniversary Pack, and we also looked at the one from the Millennium Pack that originated from the old Game Boy Advance video games. This time, we're going to look at the Celtic Guardians family members, Obnoxious Celtic Guardian, and the Celtic Guard of Noble Arms, as well as a secret third one that I promised from the last video. So if you haven't seen part 1, you do yourself a favor and go watch that. So let's get started with the Obnoxious Celtic Guard. Not Guardian. I found that out while I was making this video. For all these years, I've been calling him the Obnoxious Celtic Guardian because he looks just fucking like the Celtic Guardian, but no, it's the Obnoxious Celtic Guard. Anyways, his original appearance was in the very first ever Structure Deck released in Japan, June 28th, 2001, Structure Deck Yugi. We wouldn't see this card released in America for another 3 years. In the 2004 collectible 10s, he was one of the ones in the 10 as the face card, which, to be exact, came out September 1st. He was a little bit better than the original Celtic Guardian in that he actually had an effect, and it was pretty decent for the time, but let's take a look at the artwork, because that's why we're here. Like I said before, he doesn't look very different from the original Celtic Guardian. However, his colors look a little bit more vibrant, and the lighting and shading are very well done. Here, even more of his body is revealed, as we can actually see his brown pants and down to his leg level. I like that he has a little bit of a pose going on as well, but I think this card clocks in just behind the anniversary card in second place because the pose in that one's better, and like I said, there's not a lot of differences between these cards, so I would have to put this one in second. At least for now, because we have another card, the Celtic Guard of Noble Arms. Real quick before we talk about this card, I'd like to explain that the card is called Celtic Guard of Noble Arms, and in Yu-Gi-Oh! There's another set of Noble Arms cards, which are spell cards that support the Noble Knights archetype. I just wanted to say that I'm not going to go into those Noble Arms spell cards. That might be a video for another time if I ever do a Noble Knights video. Jesus Christ, can you imagine how fucking long that would take? That would take forever. Not saying I'm ruling that out, though. I do like the Noble Knights, but here we're just going to focus on the Celtic Guardian part because I don't know if I really consider him a part of that family, considering that the only cards in the Noble Knights archetype that share that name are those spell cards, although apparently he is a part of that family, but some other time maybe. Anyways, this is the most recent Celtic Guardian family card. It was released July 21st, 2016 in America in the Dark Side of Dimensions movie pack in order to promote the movie. Released just 3 months prior in Japan, this Celtic Guardian member is the strongest in terms of attack and his effect. This one is very detailed and has some nice color effects going on with the cape. Not to mention, he has that same blue-green armor like the Anniversary Celtic Guardian, but it stands out more here because the background isn't nearly the same color like that one was. And look, he's actually doing a pose, just like the Anniversary one. Much like that one, that helps give this card a little bit more personality, and since I think the colors are done a little bit better, I would have to give this one my first place grab. So if I were to put these on the ranking system real quick, it goes the Celtic Guard of Noble Arms, then the Anniversary card, then Obnoxious Celtic Guardian. Those three are all very good. Then the original card, also very good. But then you have that derpy looking fuck from the Sacred Cards Game Boy Advance game, and he's definitely in last place. So that's it, right? All the members of the Celtic Guardian family. Nope. There's one more. Like I said before, there was one last secret one I discovered while I was making this video. Yu-Gi-Oh! Historians are probably aware of it. I certainly was not, so I guess I gotta show it to you. Behold, the last Celtic Guardian family member. Here it is. Now the first thing you're probably thinking is, what, is he pulling our tits? That looks like a fake. What the fuck is that? Well, nope. I can assure you it's not a fake. So what is it? Okay, well now you're probably thinking, well, no shit, Sherlock, it's the Celtic Guardian. But where did it come from? In part 1, I mentioned that the Celtic Guardian was first revealed as a promo card in Japan. Well, that's only partially true. That was the first time we ever saw the Celtic Guardian in the Konami version of the Yu-Gi-Oh game, but did you know that Bandai owned the license to Yu-Gi-Oh before Konami did, and they had their own card game entirely dedicated to it? They only released 3 booster packs ever, or I should say sets, but I'll explain that later in another video series I'm making called Packs of the Past. But for now, let's look at the art and look at where he came from. He was released in the first Bandai booster pack, Yu-Gi-Oh! Bandai OCG First Generation. Yeah, that's the actual fucking name. Released April 4th, 1998. And I guess, I don't know what to say. Should I be too harsh on him? I mean, he was a part of the first ever set of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. His sword is nice. It has a nice little glare to it, and the lighting and shading are pretty nice once again. All in all, he actually looks pretty good for being one of the first Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I suppose. It's primitive, but the colors are vibrant, and he still looks less awkward than this cringy fuckhead. Okay, I'm being too harsh on that Sacred Cards Game Boy Advance one, but I still do think that this Bandai one looks better. Let's say something nice about the Sacred Cards Game Boy Advance one again, because I am being a little harsh on it, and we'd like to end on a positive note. At least they attempted to do some sort of pose in it. Is it awkward? Yes, but the Bandai one got off easy because he's kind of just standing there. It almost looks a little posy, but it's mostly just kind of him standing there with the sword showing off his apparel, so it's a lot easier to make. However, for the time that it came out, it still looks pretty good compared to this one coming out in this modern era of Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, that was only a few years ago that the Millennium Pack came out. Well, look, I tried to say something positive about it, and it still kind of turned to negative. What am I supposed to do? So, if I were to put this on that ranking scale I just made, I'd probably put it past the Millennium Pack one just a little bit, but not nearly as good as the original Celtic Guardian, or the others, for that matter. Well, there you have it. All the artwork for all the members of the Celtic Guardian family. His design is simple, yet memorable and iconic, but my god, he really does look like Link from Zelda. Well, I hoped you learned something about Yu-Gi-Oh! Or the Celtic Guardian that interested you today and was a fun little trivia fact or whatever. I'm glad to look at the artwork with you guys, and I think that we need to look at this more often in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community because the artwork is really good on Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. I mean, like, spectacular. I know I was harsh on the Game Boy Advance version, but most Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards don't look that bad. You're probably not going to hear me say a whole lot of negative things about cards unless I'm comparing them to other cards. On the next episode of Genealogy of the Cards, we're going to look at Gaia the Fierce Knight and his archetype, and I might even throw the Curse of Dragon in there since they kind of go together, so stay tuned for episode 3 and subscribe if you want to see more of this. If there's an archetype of Yu-Gi-Oh! Card that you want to see me talk about the art and compare them all, then leave it in the comment section below and I will take a look at it and more than likely make a video on it. Also for you Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans, I'm starting another new series that I mentioned before earlier in this video called Packs of the Past. This is where I'm going to look at the history of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster packs and see how the game has evolved over time. The first episode is actually going to be about the entirety of the Bandai years. It's going to be a long one, so if you want to watch that, then subscribe to my channel for that as well. It was very interesting and it was very fun to make. But as always, if you made it this far in the video, thank you a bunch. I really enjoy these Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos. I'm going to be working on many other things, but I like to appease the Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans as well, because I'm a huge Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan, and I would love to keep making Yu-Gi-Oh! Content. So again, thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you next time.